Hey everybody, it's Silver Seeker, and today we have another video about silver stacking. Now this video, like the other one that I just did last week, is aimed towards new stackers, but I do think that seasoned silver stackers can get a little bit out of this as well, so feel free to watch it. And guys, we're going to get into it. What we're going to be talking about today is 5 things that I think that every silver stacker needs to ask themselves before they get into stacking. It's basically things that you need to know before you make the plunge. If you haven't silver stacked for long, or if you are thinking about it but haven't gotten into it yet, these are some questions that you really need to consider before you get into it. So let's get into it, guys. But really quick before we do, guys, believe it or not, over 60% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed. So if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so yet, please don't forget to subscribe and click my bell for future video notifications. Okay, so the first question you need to ask yourself is, why do you want to stack silver in the first place? And this is a very, very important question. And to be honest with you, it's probably the most important question of the 5 I am going to pose inside of this video. So you need to ask yourself that, and you need to give yourself a real answer, not just think you have the answer, not just, oh, well, I read some stuff on Reddit, Wall Street Silver, Silver Squeeze, it's going up. You need to really, really know why you want to stack. So let me tell you why I stack silver. The primary reason I stack silver, and I think this is for the majority of people that do, is a hedge against inflation. I mean, the US Mint, the US government continues to produce as much money as they ever want. Gold and silver, on the other hand, is a finite resource that has to be mined to get it or refined out of other products that it's already been used in. For example, old computer parts, old coins, old sterling silverware, things like that. You either have to mine it or have to refine it to get it. That's the only place it's going to come from. You can't log into a computer and create $1.9 trillion. And if you think about gold and silver, it's been used as currency. It's been used as money for millennia, well before the United States was even thought of, well before modern civilization. In fact, if you think about it, the United States even was using gold and silver as currency all the way back in the 60s. That's not even that long ago. That's well under a century. In 1964, we were creating all of our dimes, quarters, and half dollars were 90% silver. We were distributing silver certificates that were a guarantee that the US government owed you $1 worth of silver. You could take that into the bank and you can get $1 worth of silver with it. That was their promise to you. That was their promissory note. That was the US government saying, we owe you this money. Now you fast forward 50, 60 years and the government can create as much of it as they want because they got rid of the gold and silver standard. And so they can just print it on demand. Think about it like this. Look at this. Just think about this for a second. It doesn't take an economics degree to realize that the U.S. Mint, the U.S. government has produced 20% of all the U.S. dollars that have ever been produced were produced in 2020. And now this year, they've already started off the year with a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill that came from where? Where did it come from? It came from your pockets. It's coming from tax money for future generations, and it's going to be way more for them than it is what they're giving us out to us, and what other ever program they put that money in now. And like I said, over 20% of it, 2020 alone, over 20% of the currency ever created in the United States in 1 year. Guys, that is absolutely insane. And again, you don't need an economics degree to realize that, that is going to cause inflation. The more money that's out there, the more things are going to cost. It's going to be that way. It always has been that way. I mean, our money is designed for inflation, like 2% a year or something like that, they say. So why would you want to keep your money in money? Why would you want to put your money into the bank account when you know it's just going to be worth less than it was this year, next year, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? What are you doing with your money? Now, if you want to get into the gold and silver to protect your money against inflation, that is the best reason to do it. That is my primary reason. Now, there's a couple of other reasons. Let's get into them. The first one being you are a hobbyist and you really like the beauty of silver. And I'll be honest with you, that's my second reason. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous metal. They can make it into so many different designs, and there are some gorgeous coins that come out, some gorgeous things that are created with silver, and I absolutely love it. but that's always been my secondary reason. The first one is always to hedge against inflation. And then there's the third, and this one is kind of a recent one. And this one is fueled by Wall Street bets. It's fueled by, Wall Street silver. It's fueled by the silver squeeze. And that's people want to make a ton of money. They're FOMO, or fear of missing out. They are buying on fear that they are going to miss the next Bitcoin or the next, rocket to the moon like GameStop. That's not the right reason to get into silver, guys. If you're getting into silver like that, I'm telling you, 99% of you are going to lose. There might be a few people out there that win in that scenario. The majority of you are going to lose. If you want to put your money in the silver to hedge against inflation, I give you 100% of my backing and support. But if you're putting your money into silver because you think tomorrow it's going to be worth $100 an ounce, I'm sorry to tell you this, probably not going to happen. Again, that's my opinion. And I'm sure I'm going to be castrated in the chat by a few people. It's like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Silver's going to be worth $1 million tomorrow. Fine. Maybe it will, and maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. I want to see it. That doesn't mean that I have any less faith in silver than I, did before the silver squeeze. That doesn't mean I don't believe that silver's worth $100 an ounce, because I really do. It's just not going to happen. It's way too manipulated by big banks with way too much money, way more money than what a little Reddit like Wall Street Silver can do. Now, if everyone in the US were to go out tomorrow, every single person, all 330 million or whatever it is, were to go out tomorrow and buy 5 ounces of silver each, if all 7 billion people in the world were all to own 1 ounce of silver tomorrow that they don't own today, then you would see silver hit $100, $200, $300, $100 an ounce, but it's just not going to happen. The banks are too big and there's not enough people into it. Let's do our best to spread the word and get more people into silver, because honestly, whether or not it goes up exponentially does not matter. The fact that you're, again, protecting your money against the coming inflation, it's happened in other countries, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, good examples. Again, we're not going to go through that kind of inflation. We're not going to go through hyperinflation, but we are definitely going to experience inflation. Silver has always kept up with inflation. Back in 1964, a quarter would buy you a loaf of bread and milk or whatever. Today, this money that you get for that quarter will do the same thing. Back in 1964, a silver quarter would buy you a gallon of gas. Today, that same 1964 quarter that's 90% silver, you could walk into a coin shop today, and not only could you get enough money for a gallon of gas, you could also get yourself a fountain soda and a candy bar on your way out. So silver and gold have always kept up with inflation. If you want to hedge your money against loss, that's the way to do it. But it's not going to go to $100 an ounce tomorrow, guys. That doesn't mean that you should be any less excited about getting into silver. It's a fantastic way to store your wealth. Okay, number 2, and this one's probably the second most important question of this video, is do you have a budget? And this one, there's 2 main reasons I'm going to get into this, and just listen and hear me out. First and foremost, you have to have a budget because you don't want to put every dime you have into gold and silver. There's 2 reasons for that. The primary one is that you cannot currently spend your gold and silver directly. So I just mentioned the 1964 quarter for the gallon of the gas and the soda and the snack. You can't just go to the gas station, unfortunately, and get, maybe there is a couple out there that do, but you can't go to most gas stations and just hand them the silver quarter and get your gas and get your soda and get your snack. You have to be able to convert that into currency that places accept. And unfortunately, that's just the unfortunate fact of the matter, is that most places don't accept silver right now. Maybe ever, yet, whatever. The point is, you can't do it. Your landlord is not going to take silver for his rent payment, likely. I'm not saying everybody, but likely. It's very likely your mortgage company is not going to accept silver as payment. It's very likely your gas and electric company are not interested in accepting silver as payment. They want that green stuff right there because obviously, with big companies like that taking all that money in, all that silver and stuff, they would rather have a check that they can just put into their bank account. It's just unfortunately, but it is the way it is. And then the second thing, and something else you need to consider, is that, like I said, talking about Wall Street silver, you're going to FOMO in. A lot of people are going to FOMO in. They're going to buy way more than they can afford. And if silver does go down, because as you know, the market goes up and down, it's possible that you'll have to turn around and sell some of that silver at an inopportune time because you need to buy something or pay for something that you didn't budget for. So for example, let's say your car breaks down, your transmission goes out, it's going to be a couple of grand. Now you have to sell your silver, but unfortunately silver's in a weak spot and you bought it at 26, now silver's at 22. Now, because you didn't save enough money for those unexpected expenses in your life, you are going to have to sell your silver at a loss instead of hanging on to it. And by the time you buy it back, it might already be up again. So obviously, paying your bills, getting out of debt, and saving money for unexpected expenses, and of course, being able to pay your mortgage and all that. That is number one. Number two, any extra money that you're going to put aside, rather than put $10,000 or $20,000 into the savings account, like I said, that's where you need to go with your gold and silver. So set a budget, figure out what you can afford to not have right away that you can put away and store for a rainy day for the future. And that is what you put into silver. So make sure you have that budget. Do not FOMO in. Do not jump into the pool of sharks with all of these guys on Wall Street Silver, because let's be honest with you, every single one of those people on Wall Street Silver, every person on YouTube like myself that's talking about silver to you through the screen right now, every single one of those guys has a reason. They want it to go up. I would love for every person to, for me personally, keep in mind when I'm saying this, I wouldn't love it for you because I realize that's not good. But if every single person just threw all of their money into silver, probably would make a little bit of a wave and would make my silver worth more. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to tell you guys what you need to do, what you need to be careful about. Don't FOMO in, don't overspend. Just do what you can do, and that's it. Do not put yourself in a bad position because you got, scared that you weren't going to have enough silver and it was going to skyrocket, because you never know what's going to be on the other side as well. All right. So number 3, where to buy. So we did videos recently in the last couple of weeks where we looked at local versus online dealer. And you really need to, after you figure out what your budget's going to be, and after you know why you want to buy your silver, you need to know where you're going to buy your silver. So shop around to your local shops, shop some online deals, see what's the best that you can get, price-wise. And then also figure out what you want to buy along with that. And what I mean by that is, do you want to get into the little bit more premium stuff like Eagles, or do you want to stay closer to spot and, like generic rounds and 90% silver? Talk to a couple of experts, talk to some of your shops, get a little bit of advice and see where, with their info, don't do what they tell you to do, but using the knowledge that they shared with you and maybe the knowledge that you get out of the videos on this channel, help use that to determine, what you should buy, and then figure out where you should buy it. So call around a couple of different shops, see who has the best price on what you want to get, check versus online. Don't forget that some states do tax silver, so you have to keep that in mind as well. Things like that. But it's very, very important to figure out where you want to buy. So don't just walk into the first shop and get taken advantage of, especially as a new stacker, because they may realize you're a new stacker and they may be like, oh, silver rounds, we have those for +5. Oh, you're new. Silver rounds, we have those for +8. Yeah, silver rounds, they're $32. Oh, you're new. Yeah, we have silver rounds for $36 a piece. Shop around, get prices, make sure you trust the person you're buying it from. And the trust thing's a big one as well. Make sure you're buying it from somewhere that's legitimate, so you don't have to worry about getting the fake silver as well, because that's a big one. If you go to like a non-trustworthy source, if you find some guy in Craigslist that has 20 ounces of silver he wants to sell at spot, there might be a reason that he wants to sell that 20 ounces of silver at spot, because it's not real, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's true. You might end up holding 20 ounces of fake silver and you have no recourse at that point. So be very, very careful. Figure out where you're going to buy it. Do your research. Call around. Get the best prices. Make sure it's a reputable source. And at the end of the day, you can go home knowing that you have silver, the best that you could get it, and that it is real. Okay, so number 4, where to store it. This is a big one. I get asked this all the time. I do not keep the very, very high majority of the silver that I have or gold that I have here. I do not keep it at the house, because even though I don't tell people where I live, I still don't want anyone to, they might know that I'm into silver. They watch they see me on YouTube, they recognize me, and, they're friends of mine. I just don't want people to know where I have it. So where I have my silver stored is between me and my wife, and that is it. Nobody else knows. My wife knows that if I die, she knows what to do, where to get it. If both me and my wife were to die at the same time, I have contingency plans in place for my kids to figure it out via stuff I'm not going to get into, but they will be informed where it is if, me and Mrs. Seeker were to be in a car accident and lights out for both of us. The kids are going to be taken care of. They'll be able to get it. But, for the most part, It's just me and my wife, and that's it. I'm not even going to share with you what I do. There's plenty of resources online that can help you determine where to store it. Some people like to use safety deposit boxes. I'm not a big fan of that, because if you can't get access to the safety deposit box, like last year during COVID, all the banks were shutting down and you couldn't get to your silver. I mean, that would be a nightmare. But do some research, figure out where you're going to store it. Now, you could store it at home. Let me tell you some stories. I know a guy who stored his silver at his house. He quite literally used a 100-ounce bar. He put it in a box, covered it with some newspaper and some tape, and used it as a doorstop. People would, if his house ever got broken into, they probably would not pick up the old ratty newspaper doorstop that he keeps at his house. He also would take 1-ounce silver rounds and he would literally put them in his fish tank. He'd just plop them right in. And his thought process to this was, well, if someone breaks into my house, they're probably not going to be looking in my fish tank for valuables or collectibles. Now, he might be mad at me right now because I may be giving somebody an idea as where to go look. You know what I mean? It's like people are going to be thinking, oh man, I've been thinking about breaking into some houses. Maybe I should be checking into, these fish tanks. But you get my point. I've seen some very creative ways of how people store their silver at home. Putting in a safe, unless you have a nice big safe that's bolted to the floor, that's not movable, is probably not the best, because if someone breaks in your house, safes are easy to get out, especially if they're not bolted down. They're going to have enough time to at least get it out of your house, and then they'll figure out how to get into it somewhere else later. But again, the only thing I keep here is enough to do my videos and to do my streams. And, a couple of stacker boxes, and that is it. Very, very, very little. And I do that for a very good reason. So something to keep in mind. Look into places where to store it. But, at the end of the day, figure out where you're going to do it, why you're going to do it. And if you do end up storing it at home, do yourself a favor. Don't tell anyone. I don't care if they're your best friend. I don't care if you grew up with them. Don't tell them. Just hide it. Don't say a word. I'm serious about that. Trust me on this one. Okay, last but not really the least, but certainly not the most important of these, is when to buy your silver. And this is a big one because obviously the market changes. Silver goes up, silver goes down, premiums go up, premiums go down. And at the end of the day, you want to get the most amount of silver that you can get with your money when you're investing, especially when you're just beginning. So because you don't want to get burnt. I'm sure there are people that get turned off because they walk into a shop and, a shop overcharges them because they're a novice and they know that they can. Most shops are very, very good, by the way, but there's a few out there, like everything. There's a bunch of great people and a few bad apples. So, getting taken advantage of really is going to turn you off from it. So you want to get in the know. You want to read reputable articles on places like Kitco, or listen to some YouTube channels that you trust. I'm not saying I'm one of those. Who knows? Maybe Solivate Metal, whoever. But you want to definitely be in the know of what's going on with silver. Be in the know of the silver squeeze and the premiums and the low amount of production right now, or how hard it is to get right now. And I know people are going to say there's no such thing as a silver shortage. There's plenty of it out there. And yes, maybe so, but that doesn't change the fact that last year when I placed an order, I got it in 2 or 3 days. Today I have an order that I placed on March 2nd that still isn't here. So yeah, there is a big difference and between now and last year, and it's definitely a little bit harder to get. So the premiums are up. That's just what it is. So do you want to buy into the premiums now? I mean, maybe you want to wait till the premiums come down, but then you have to ask yourself, well, if the premiums come down from +6 to +2, but silver goes from 26 to 40, wouldn't it have been better to buy 26 + 6 today than 40 + 2 then? So I'm not telling you when to do that. I'm not telling you what it's going to be tomorrow. I'm not going to make the prediction for you. But the point is, you really need to sit down and decide when you want to put your silver or your money into silver, when to buy it. If you think it's going to come down, if you think it's going to be cheaper tomorrow, then maybe you wait till tomorrow. If you think it's going to be more tomorrow, then maybe you buy today. So definitely, like I said, get as much information as you can. Ingest, watch, read. Learn as much as you can into the market, and then, use what you've learned to make your best determination as to when to buy silver. Again, I'm not here to advise you on that. I'm not even here to tell you to buy it. But if you're going to buy it, you really do need to think about when you want to as well. So that is it, guys. That's the 5 that we had for you today. I hope that you learned a little bit in this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, like I said earlier, do me a favor. Don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully you want to see more videos like this on the channel. I know videos have been a little bit slow lately. I've just been kind of busy, but they will be picking up here in the short term. So definitely make sure you click the bell as well so you get the video notifications when they come out. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching and have a fantastic rest of your day. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I did leave a video above. You can check out if you haven't seen it yet. I also want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to my awesome channel supporters scrolling right there on the right hand of the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.